Welcome to the Mary Potter Podcast. Ready for another weekly magical probe into the world of wizarding flash fiction?
Always.
Great, because we've got two amazing stories lined up for you today, brimming with rebellious spirits and untamed magic, and a touch of the Wild West even.
Sounds exciting.
Oh, it is, it is. So forget those dusty old history books. We're going to be diving headfirst into the action and adventure found in these really powerful short stories.
I like it. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Ah,
No epic sagas today, just pure, concentrated magical goodness.
you got it. And these are stories that you listeners sent in.
Oh, nice. So we're really getting into the heart of what the Mary Potter fans are creating.
Exactly. And everyone is so eager to get some quick but insightful feedback on their stories. So that's what we're here to do. Let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
All right. The first flash fiction story is called The Enchanter's Escape.
Okay. The Enchanter's Escape. I like the sound of that already. Got a bit of a rebellious vibe, right?
Oh, definitely. So this story centers on a young enchanter, Tobias, who, well, he feels really stifled by his family's, super rigid rules, especially when it comes to magic.
Ah, the classic tale of a young wizard yearning for something more. It's like a universal theme, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Hmm.
You know, he grew up in this grand ancestral manor, and everything was about proper chants, proper gestures, proper ingredients.
Oh, I can just imagine. Stifling. Yeah.
Super stifling. And, all he wants is to experience magic the way they describe it in those tavern tales. You know, that raw, unpredictable magic that's just bursting with life.
Oh, yeah. The kind of magic that makes your hair stand on end and leaves you wondering what just happened.
Exactly. But instead, he's stuck with his mother fussing over his stain-prone spell robes.
Oh, bless her heart.
Mhm.
Mother's right. Always worried about the practicalities.
I know. And then you've got his father droning on and on about the responsibilities of lineage.
Ah, the weight of tradition. Heavy stuff.
So can you guess what happens next? Tobias finally has enough.
I bet he snaps. Rebels against all that properness.
You got it. His 16th birthday rolls around. Huge family feast. Everyone's expecting him to perform some dazzling display of magic.
It's his time to shine. The pressure's on.
Right. But what does he conjure up?
Knowing Tobias and his stifled magical abilities, something less than impressive, I'm guessing.
Exactly. He could only manage some pretty lackluster fire charms. I mean, seriously embarrassing for a wizard of his lineage.
Ouch, that's got to sting. Especially in front of the whole family. I can see why that might push him over the edge.
Yeah, it was kind of a breaking point for him. And that's when he decides to escape.
So how does he do it? Disappears in a puff of smoke,
Yep.
steals a flying broomstick.
Well, he does something even bolder. He grabs his family's most prized artifact.
Even more of everlasting enchantments. That's got to be a serious piece of magical history. Why would he risk taking that?
For Tobias, it was his ticket out. A chance to explore the raw, untamed magic he'd always dreamed of.
Makes sense. But that grimoire, it's probably full of powerful, maybe even dangerous spells.
Oh, absolutely. And the family would definitely notice it's gone.
No kidding. They're going to be furious.
Yeah, but Tobias isn't worried about that at the moment. He's got his eyes set on freedom. He's got the grimoire. Now all he needs is a getaway ride.
Okay, so what does he choose? One of those fancy, well-trained steeds his family probably favors?
Nah, nothing so predictable. You see, Tobias has his sights set on Moonlight, this old mare in the stables.
Moonlight, what's so special about her?
Oh, just wait till you hear the description. She's got eyes like chipped sapphires and a mane the color of a storm cloud.
Wow, that's pretty striking.
Right. I mean, especially compared to the sleek, well-trained, utterly boring horses his family usually rode.
I can see why Tobias would gravitate toward a horse like Moonlight. A bit of a rebel herself, perhaps.
Definitely. And the stable hands always seemed a little uneasy around her, muttering about her wild spirit. Something Tobias probably found appealing.
Yeah, she sounds like the perfect companion for a young enchanter who wants to break free from convention.
Totally. So picture this. Tobias, grimoire in hand, sneaks into the stables, saddles up Moonlight, and then they're off. They make this exhilarating escape through the forest. And for the first time in his life, Tobias feels truly alive. He's got the wind in his hair, the smell of the earth all around him.
Wow, I can almost feel the freedom in that scene.
Right, and then as they're riding, something happens. Tobias and Moonlight come face to face with this creature.
A creature? What kind of creature?
Well, the story describes it as a beast with shimmering scales and eyes that burned like embers.
Okay, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
And a little scary, if I'm being honest.
Oh, it was. And suddenly Tobias realizes that all those proper defensive charms he learned, they seem laughably feeble against this thing.
Yeah. Textbook knowledge only gets you so far when you're facing a real-life magical threat, huh?
Exactly. And that's when Tobias makes a desperate decision.
What does he do? Does he try to reason with the creature? Or maybe bargain with it?
He does something much riskier. He decides to try a spell from the grimoire. A shape-shifting spell.
Whoa. Wait, shape-shifting. Isn't that a pretty advanced type of magic?
Oh, yeah, totally. It was an unstable spell. And utterly forbidden in his family.
Forbidden? Why is that?
Well, I guess they considered it too dangerous, too unpredictable.
Ah, so Tobias is diving headfirst into the deep end of magic now.
Yeah, he was desperate. And he'd never even attempted the spell before.
So what happens? Does he manage to pull it off?
He does. He focuses all his energy, all his desire into the spell. And then he starts to change. His hands become hooves, his vision stretches wide, and he can feel a horse's heart pounding in his chest.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So he actually transforms into a horse.
Yep. And you know what's even wilder? The scaled beast, the one with those burning eyes, it reacts in a way Tobias never expected.
How so? Does it attack?
No, it pauses, and Tobias sees the look in its eyes shift. From raw hunger to respect, almost.
Respect. For a fellow creature.
Yeah, like it recognized something in Tobias's transformed state, something powerful maybe, and then the beast just backs away and disappears into the forest.
Wow. That's incredible. So Tobias's forbidden magic actually saved him.
It did, and now he's standing there, still in horse form, and he's exhilarated and terrified all at the same time.
I can imagine. It's a lot to process, isn't it?
Right, and in that moment, there's this bond that forms between Tobias and Moonlight. They've faced danger together, they've survived together.
They've both tasted freedom.
Yeah, and now Tobias has a choice to make. Does he return home? To the manor, to those suffocating rules?
Or does he embrace this newfound freedom?
Exactly. And, well, I think you can guess what he chooses. He turns away from the familiar path and gallops off into the unknown with Moonlight by his side.
Sounds like a perfect ending to a fantastic story. And it hits on so many classic tropes, too. We've got the runaway, obviously, Tobias fleeing his restrictive upbringing. Then there's forbidden knowledge, with the grimoire and that dangerous, shape-shifting spell. And you could even say that Moonlight represents a kind of chosen by destiny element, leading Tobias toward his true path.
Oh, totally. And that encounter with the beast, that was definitely a threshold moment, forcing him to transform both literally and metaphorically.
Absolutely. And the open ending leaves us wondering, what adventures await Tobias and Moonlight? Will they find others who embrace untamed magic? Will they face even greater dangers? We're left to imagine the possibilities.
That's the beauty of flash fiction. So much packed into such a short story. Okay. Ready for a change of scenery?
Always. What have you got for us?
Let's saddle up and mosey on over to the Wild West for our next magical pro.
Ooh, cowboys and magic. This, I gotta hear.
This flash fiction story is called The Wild West Warlock.
The Wild West Warlock. Okay, I'm already intrigued.
It's about this fella named Jonah Hex. A real tough, gritty character who calls himself a hex-slinger, not a warlock.
A hex-slinger, huh? Sounds like he's got a bit of a reputation.
Oh, yeah, he does. See, in this world, magic is outlawed, and Jonah's got a hefty price on his head.
Outlawed magic. That's a twist. Usually, magic users are the ones in control, right?
Not this time. In this story, those with magical abilities are seen as a threat, I guess.
So what did Jonah do to earn such a hefty bounty? What makes him so dangerous?
That's the thing. The story doesn't really say. Those wanted posters, they never explain the why behind the price on his head.
That's interesting. Adds a bit of mystery, doesn't it? Makes you wonder what he's capable of.
Yeah, exactly. And that mystery kind of hangs over the whole story.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about Jonah.
All right, so here's the thing. He's under a curse. A powerful one placed on him by his own mother, who was, according to Jonah, a witch of a ma.
A cursed warlock in the Wild West.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense. What kind of curse are we talking about?
The story doesn't get into specifics, but it's this curse that forced him into a life of outlaw magic. And tragically, it was a sheriff who killed his ma.
Oh, wow. So Jonah's life has been shaped by both magic and the law, but in all the wrong ways.
Exactly. He's constantly looking over his shoulder, sleeping with one eye open, relying on those outlawed spells just to stay alive.
That's a tough existence. Always on the run, never able to rest easy.
Yeah, but there's something else driving Jonah, hope. He's heard whispers of a legendary city, El Dorado.
El Dorado, the city of gold.
But this is no ordinary El Dorado. In this story, it's described as a living city, shimmering with gold and ancient magic. And Jonah believes it might hold the key to breaking his curse.
So he's not just after riches, he's seeking a way to free himself. That's pretty compelling.
It is, but don't get the wrong idea. Jonah's not some noble hero. He's driven by self-preservation, by a desperate need to break free from his curse.
An anti-hero, then. A man driven by his own needs, but maybe capable of good along the way.
Exactly. And his journey to El Dorado, well, it's a treacherous one.
I bet. What kind of dangers does he face?
Oh, you name it. He crosses sun-blasted canyons, stumbles through ghost towns, faces down bandits. There are even some shady shamans he has to deal with.
Wow, talk about a wild ride. And he's using outlawed magic to survive all this.
Every step of the way, and he's not coming out unscathed. There's even a mention of him encountering a demon at a crossroads.
A demon? What happened? Did he fight it?
Oh, yeah. Jonah won the hand, lost a piece of his soul, the story says.
That's a chilling detail. It sounds like his magic comes at a heavy price.
It definitely does. By the time he reaches the Badlands, he's a man on the ragged edge, haunted by his past and terrified of becoming the very monster everyone believes him to be.
So the internal struggle is just as intense as the external threats. He's battling his own demons as much as the literal ones.
Yeah, he is. And the Badlands, well, they're a whole other level of danger.
What's so special about the Badlands?
Well, they say that in the Badlands, the normal laws of man and nature get all twisted.
It's like a place you don't want to get lost in.
No kidding. And that's where Jonah encounters the ghost of Sheriff Dawson, an echo given form by the Badlands themselves.
Hold on. The sheriff who killed his ma, he's back as a ghost.
Yep. And it seems there's some unfinished business between them, some score to settle.
Wow, that's heavy. So it's a showdown between Jonah and the ghost of his past.
And it's not going to be a fair fight. The story makes that much clear.
So how does he plan to win? More outlawed magic.
He's going to have to rely on cunning, on outlasting this echo of his past. It's a test of his will as much as his magical abilities.
And El Dorado, is it still within reach?
Oh, yeah, it's tantalizingly close. But first, Jonah has to face this final obstacle, this ghost from his past. He's clinging to a little bit of luck, though. The story mentions a luck charm his ma taught him.
A connection to his past that might help him in the present. I like that.
Me too. So the climax of the story is this tense standoff in the Badlands. Jonah fires off a hex bullet, but the Badlands themselves fight back.
The environment itself is against him. That's intense. So we're left on a cliffhanger.
In a way, yeah. But the story leaves us with a sense that Jonah, he's got the grit, the determination to make it through, to finally break free from the curse that's haunted him for so long.
The Wild West Warlock. It's a fantastic story, and it uses some classic tropes really effectively, too. Jonah's a classic cursed protagonist, obviously. He definitely fits the bill of an anti-hero driven by personal need, but maybe capable of more. And the bounty on his head, that bounty trope, keeps the tension high throughout the story.
Totally. And you can't forget the setting. Blending the Wild West with magic. That's some crime Weird West right there.
And of course, there's the spectral Sheriff Dawson, a perfect example of the not-quite-dead trope.
Oh, absolutely. So two wildly different stories, but both equally captivating. The Enchanter's Escape showed us the raw power of magic and the yearning for freedom, while the Wild West Warlock plunged us into a world where magic and the Wild West collide. But both stories really explore the cost of magic, the sacrifices and the choices that come with wielding such power.
And both stories have these open endings that leave us wanting more. It's like they invite us to imagine what happens next.
Exactly. And that's the power of a good magical probe into wizarding flash fiction. It sparks our imagination and makes us think about magic in new and exciting ways.
I love it.
So listeners, until our next magical probe, keep those magical thoughts alive and keep those flash fiction stories coming. You never know, we might just feature yours on the show.
We'll be waiting.
And that's a wrap.
See you next time.